In this lecture, we will discuss about an introduction to Power BI DAX. So let's see what is DAX. DAX, it stands for Data Analysis Expressions, and basically it's a collection of functions, operators, and constants which can be used in a formula or in an expression to calculate and return one or more values. Now understand in a simple way, you have some data and you want to retrieve some values, or maybe it's a one value or multiple values based on some formulas or some calculations. So this is as simple as this. So Power BI DAX basically help you to create new information from data that already in your model. So we will see some examples here. We will how we can get the total sales or total revenue like this. So it's a formula language which is used throughout Power BI, and basically DAX is a functional language, which means that the executed code is contained inside a single function. And so DAX functions can contain nested functions, can contain conditional statements and value reference as well. So in DAX, there are two data types. There are totally two data types. One is numeric, and the others are the non-numeric. So numeric will be your like your integers, decimals, currency, and non-numeric like your string and binary objects like this. Now, what types of calculation that we can do or we can create using DAX? So first thing is the calculated column. So if you want to slice or filter on the value, or if you want to do a calculation for every row in your table, then in those cases we will use a calculated column. Previously also we saw how we can create calculated columns. Now the other one is a measure, so which is known as calculated measures as well. So it's a calculated measure when you are doing a calculating based on the percentage or ratio, or you need some complex aggregations. Then we define measures. If you want to do every for each row kind of calculation, then we that time we'll use a calculated column on that. So basically these two that we can create. Now understand these three fundamental things in DAX. One thing is the syntax, then the functions, and then the context. Okay, so we'll understand these three now. So if you'll see here now, this is a formula that you can see here. So now let us try to understand what is syntax over here. First of all, let's say uh, I'm trying to create something here, total revenue equal to then sum of, then you can see here sales total cost. Now what is these things? So first of all, if you'll see here, the first one, total revenue is the measure name, and then there is an equal symbol which indicates that this is the beginning of the formula. Sum is the DAX function that we which will return a sum of all the numbers from this parameter, whatever it is taking. In this case, it is total cost. And then fourth one is the sales is the table name, and then the total cost is the column name. And then if you'll see the parentheses are basically this will contain one or more argument. So this is what is the syntax that we talk about, and in this particular example, it will provide us the total sales sum, and it will store in the total revenue. Now, if the table name contains spaces or any kind of reserved keywords, then you have to keep these things in the single quotes. So now in sales we don't have just one letter. So sorry, one word. So we don't need to put in basically comma or something like that. Sorry, in this case we have sales, so which is just one word. So we don't need to put in single quotes. Now what I will do is I will open a report, existing report, and we will try to create a measure, and we will see how we can use this. So in from this folder I will open the sales dashboard. So this is just to remind, we have an Excel where some records were there, and we imported that to our Power BI desktop. So this data is coming from an Excel from a local system. Now I will quickly go to the table here. So this is our table. So if you'll see here, I have the total cost, price, product name, quantity, like this, everything is there. Now I want to calculate what is the total cost. I mean total for all this record, what will be the total cost? We will calculate that. So for this, what we will do is, you can see here, you can just click on right click new measure, or you can see here there's a new measure is there. Click on that and then it will create a new measure. So when you will do that, you can see here by default it will take the measure like this. But in this case, what we'll do is I will say total revenue. So we will basically see how much total revenue is coming, and how then next what will be our formula will start here. So in this case we will use our function. So sum function we will use here. So if you'll see here, you can see here sum function, and it will take argument. So we will calculate the sum of total cost. So in this case I will take total cost. You can see here sales, and then square bracket is coming and our total cost is coming. I'll close my parenthesis here, and I will just click on enter. So the moment I'll hit on enter, the measure got created, you can see here, and there's a calculation symbol is there. If I'll go to my visualization, let me just add one page here, and we can just rename it. I will say measures, something like that, measures example. And what we can do here is I will put a data card or a card, and in this case if I will just track the total revenue, we can see here total revenue is coming 2 million. So it's a calculation of every record from here. Now you have this measure. So this is how we can create a quickly you can create a measure, and we saw the how how usually we declare this. Now, the other one is the DAX function. So three fundamental elements. So the second one is the DAX functions. So in this case, we have various functions. We use one function here, sum, but there are couple. These are the categories of functions are available, or Microsoft provide the aggregation functions, can counting functions, logical functions, information functions, state text functions, and date functions. So these are few examples of this function. We will see in future examples few of these examples from these functions in the future videos. Is blank, is number, is text, concatenate, count, sum x, sum, date, now, weekday, and or not, if error. So these are various functions that we saw here. Now, next what I will do is we will see the third one, which is another one important thing, is the context. So row context and filter context. Context is very important in DAX. So there are two contexts are there, row and filter. So understand the row as the current row. So like you have a formula which has a function, and which will apply filters to identify a single row in a table, and this function will apply a row context for each row of the table, and over which it is filtering. This type of row context most often applies to measures. And the other one is the filter context. Now we need to understand this one. This is quite important, and we are going to use most of the things in the measure, this filter context. Now, in case of filter context, actually one or more filters applied into a calculation that determines a result or a value. And while working with visualization, I have shown you previously also, to visualization we add columns and then we filter that. For example, let's say if I will open the Power BI desktop, we have kind of, let's say we have a report where, or a visualization that we are creating here, for example this one. And if you'll see here, we have the syntax here, or we have the filter here. We have the customer location filter, and then there are some other columns also which we can use filter, and directly we can put in the visualization as well. Apart from that, also we can use filters in the DAX, and we use in formulas of in the functions like all, related, filter, calculate, by relationship or by other measures, and the columns as well. So we can use that. Now understand this one. So if you'll see here, the first one, here what we are doing is we did a calculate, and we are calculating some from the total revenue, how much revenue has been happened in the product of laptop. Now, what is these things? All these things, if we'll see here, total laptop revenue, this is the major name, equal to, again, as I said, this is the beginning of the formula, this shows, and then calculate is the function which will evaluate an expression, and it can take multiple parameters. And the next thing is the total revenue. So in this case, if you'll see the total revenue, this is the measure that we created in the in our previous one exercise. We did that, and we will use that total revenue here. And then the fifth one is the sales. Sales is the table name, and the product name is the column name. And seven was the is the value, which is actually suggest in this case is laptop. So this will use in the filter. So and the parenthesis, as I said, it can have multiple expressions or one or more arguments in that. Now let me open our Power BI desktop, and I'll go again to this our table. And in this case, what we'll do is we'll create another measure here, and we will use this calculate function here. So I'll right click over here, or you can just select it and then say new measure, and I will say total laptop revenue. So total laptop revenue. And what we'll do use here is we'll use on the calculate function. So if you'll just type, the good thing is that when you just type few characters, then it will start showing you suggestions. So you can use that. First one is saying the expression. So in this case, it is our total revenue. That is what we created the measure. And then if I put comma, you can see here it is showing me the filter conditions. So in this case, we will filter the product name of you can see here we have a column product name, and then the laptop value or the desktop value. So I will say the sales, the table name, and what is the column name? Column name is product name. You can see here product name equal to, you'll put the filter condition, I'll put in double quote, and I'll put is laptop. So if you'll see here, this is laptop, and I will close the bracket, and I'll click on enter. The moment you will click on enter, it will save there. So you can see here total laptop revenue now. Now go back to the visualization. We'll go to the page. Here I will add one more data card, and this time what I'll do is I will put the total laptop revenue here, and you can see here it is 1 million. And if you want to see whether it is working correctly or not, so we can actually modify a little bit on this. I will just put laptop 123, and if you'll go to the visualization, you can see here it is blank because no value over there. And similarly, if you will go here, you will change it to, let's say, keyboard. Click on enter, and then if you'll go here, you can see here this is the 11K is the keyword value, and this is the name of this measure. Here it is coming. If you want to format this, you can go here. If you want to have the title here, then you can make it the title on. So you can add something over here. For example, I will say keyboard revenue, and then we can actually, if you want to align it, so you can actually align it to center. And if you want not to show this category, so you can see here down it will go. Now we have the keyboard revenue on this, and then if you want, you can just increase the font little bit so that you can see the keyword revenue now. So you can see here how we create another measure, and this time we use the calculate function, and then how we can get this value. So this was an introduction to this DAX, and then in our upcoming lectures we will see a lot of examples on this. We will see various examples how we can use this various DAX functions, and how we can create also various visualizations from that. And also I have created the PDF for the same, so you can check the PDF in the download section over there in the lecture.